Welcome back, everybody. This is Sarcasm Speaks. This is Jared and Bob coming at you. And we have a doubleheader today. This doesn't matter to you, but I do want to start it out by saying we are in the midst of, I guess you could call it history. Um, so yeah, this is tomorrow's episode. So this is coming out on Monday. Um, Scottie Scheffler just won his fifth event so far this season. I think he's played in 8 events total so far this year. And the events he didn't win, he finished T2, T8, and then how did he do at the US Open? I don't remember.
Well, it hasn't
Was it the
happened
top
yet.
five?
So, which event? Which event do you mean?
I'm sorry, the PGA. Christ. Because we're going to talk about the
PGA.
US Open next.
I want to say PGA was like a
It's like
T8 or
T12.
something.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, not that it diminishes anything. He's won 5 of his last 8. Because remember, I had to deem him a bum for him to fucking win anything this year.
That's
Um,
true.
and he was putting like really shitty, like super shitty.
Yeah.
Um, And yeah, I mean the PGA, like even after he got arrested, he played really well Friday. He just did not have it.
Yeah.
Um, he did not have it Saturday.
So starting with the Century, right? The first event of the sea. Well, technically it's the second, but it's the first real event of the year. um T5, T17 at the Amex, which is stupid because that's a pro am. Um T6 at Pebble, which is also stupid because it's a pro am.
Rain
And then
shortened.
yeah, and was rain shortened. Then T3 at TPC Scottsdale, the waste management, T10 at Riv, and then 1 at Bay Hill, 1 at the Players, T2 at the Texas Children's Houston Open, 1 at the Masters, 1 at the RBC Heritage at Harbortown, T8 at the PGA, T2 at Colonial, and then 1 today at Memorial. So if you exclude the two pro-ams, he's gone T5, T3, T10, 1, 1, T2, 1, 1, T8, T2, 1.
So it's all fifth or better in events that he did not go to jail in.
Yes. Well, T10 at Riv.
Wasn't listening. Okay.
Yeah, when the host isn't listening. But even
A
when he
lot of
does go to
numbers.
jail, so if you take out the two pro-am events this season, he has not finished outside of the top 10.
Do you think he is so I know he is historically hitting the fuck out of the ball.
Yeah.
That's indisputable. Do you think he is winning all these events because he's that much better than everyone? Or is everyone else around a gutless bum?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think today's win was gutless bums. I think the Masters was he was better than everyone. I think Harbortown, he was better than everyone. Didn't he win by like 6 strokes at Harbortown?
I don't think Harbortown was. I think he won by a shitload at the API.
Okay. Yeah,
Um, but hey, so just remember though, coming down the second they made the fucking turn, Morikawa and Ludwig fucking splashed one
right. Right.
at the
No, that's what I mean.
Masters.
I think the
So,
Masters was gutless bums.
oh, I thought you said he ran away or he played crazy good. Um, yeah, I'm like, I don't know where I stand either because with the way that the year started, like, I don't need all of these guys to win every event because it diminishes how good the PGA Tour players are.
Mhm.
But dude, like, where is a leaderboard that includes like 5 of these guys in the top 8? And it's like Scheffler, Morikawa, McIlroy, Spieth, Thomas, Cantlay, Schauffele. Like, where is there a leaderboard with like 5 or 6 of those guys?
Yeah.
When are they ever dueling it out? And again, that's a little disrespectful to like how good like a Steven Yeager is,
Mm.
or I mean, today was Morikawa, but then it's Hadwin. It's like, again, Hadwin's a fine player and his wife's a funny follow on Twitter, but like, yes, he got tackled at the Canadian Open.
Yeah.
Other than that, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing for me?
Right. Right.
And yeah, so truthfully, I don't know either because he is like seriously hitting the absolute fuck out of the ball. And actually, just to say like his irons are good is actually fucking selling him short too.
Yeah.
Because he's driving it well, he's hitting it well, and he's fucking chipping it well.
He's doing something that hasn't been done in the modern era for 20 years, probably. Right. Like we're talking Tiger VJ, right? Like that's probably the last two guys that have played and have dominated as much as Scottie is right now. Sure, what Spieth won five
I think
times in
Spieth
2017?
that was JT. I want to
Okay.
say Spieth won 5 times in 2015, but
Okay.
Jason Day also won like 4 times in
Right.
2015.
And then Dustin Johnson got hot and he won.
He won a bunch in 2017 too, because that was when he fell
Yeah.
down the stairs at the
Yeah.
Masters.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, like it does seem it did seem like for a while, like one guy a year would like kind of win in bunches. And that doesn't really like
Scotty's the first guy. So we've had this discussion before, right? We've talked about guys with no staying power, right? Because it was Spieth in 15, right? 14, 15, 16, whatever. That was Spieth's time. Rory was obviously a little bit before that. Um, DJ was 17, 18. Kepka was 16, 17, 18. Morikawa was 19 and 20.
yeah, I was to
But
say
even
even
still, he only won majors. He didn't really win anything else outside of the
I mean
Open and the
more
PGA.
dude, he probably won 5 times in 3 seasons because
Yeah.
he turned pro in 19, he won a major in 20 and 21.
Yeah.
Now Kepka seriously is like only kind of won majors. He's got like fucking
Yeah.
9 wins in five
He literally
majors.
doesn't give a shit. So Scotty's we're only what, 2.5 years into his run?
Um, until he started winning. He
Yeah.
started winning in 22,
Okay.
but he did lose the match play in 21. He did and like in the final.
Right.
He was the leader at the 2020 PGA that Morikawa won. He just
Right.
didn't close it out.
Right.
Also the same year that Kepka ran his mouth like, oh well, one of us has a bunch of majors. Like, dude, DJ's your friend and you just shot 78. You're a fucking idiot. Um, he did say what you will, but like as a fucking rookie, he did win twice on the Corn Ferry in 2019 and won like Corn Ferry fucking player of the year, whatever that shit is. So it's like
Right.
seemingly he's almost won at every level he's been at. But yes, it did take him 2 years on the PGA Tour to finally break through and win one.
Yeah. So we're looking at Scotty. So Scotty has 5 wins so far. We're like not even, we're almost halfway through the season. We'll call it roughly halfway. So
He
Speed
wasn't a
had,
If he wasn't a gutless bum, he should have the tour championship locked up already. So if you want to give him
right,
6, go ahead, except he has shown that he can't win that one. He
right.
can't win a fucking net event. It's insane.
So let me go to the modern era, right? Because I don't like including guys like Byron Nelson and Ben Hogan and Sam Snead and Paul Runyon and like all of these guys from like the 30s and the 40s because they were playing in like 22-man fields, right? And it's like it's goofy, it's weird. So like yeah, Byron Nelson won 18 times in 1945, but like he probably played against 12 other guys, Like not to diminish that he wasn't good. Obviously, Byron Nelson was good, right? And he was good enough to win 18 times in a season. However, let's just stick to the modern era here. So, like, let's go like post 1965, 65, because that's when like Palmer and Nicholas and those guys started kind of like, you know, jumping in there. So after 1960, guys that have won multiple times on tour. Um, no surprise here. Tiger Woods, 9 times in 2000. Vijay Singh, 9 times
Same.
in 2004. Uh, Arnold Palmer, 8 times in 1960 and in 1962. Johnny Miller, 8 times in 1974. And
Do you
no
think he'd
golf.
tell you about that?
Oh, yeah, probably. Uh, no golf statistic list is complete with a second mention of Tiger. Tiger 8 times in 1999 and 2006. So Tiger Woods is on this list three
That might be the
times.
funniest one. So he has the 9, sure, but he also has 8 twice,
Yeah.
99 and '06.
Yeah. Yeah. And the list I'm looking at only goes to 8. So I couldn't
That's
tell
good because
you.
it's not important after that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you who's won, 5, 6, 7 times on tour. But once it gets to 8, that's when they start counting here. So again, like I said, there's a couple other guys on the list, but they're all from like the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And I personally don't really give a shit about that. I'm not a golf historian. I'm not a purist, right? Like I don't care. Give me the modern era. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Winning on tour 8 or more times in a season has been done 7 times, 3 of them by Tiger.
Like I was gonna say by like 3 people.
Yeah. Yeah, because Tiger's done it 3 times and Arnold
Palmer
Palmer
did
did
it
it
twice.
twice. So between the two of them, they have 5 of the 7. um, so it's kind of trending in that direction, right? Like he's like Scottie is doing something that again hasn't been done since 2006, since Tiger did it, or before that, Vijay Singh in 2004, right? So that's why I said like the Tiger VJ days. Like that is how good Scottie is right now. So to answer your other question, right, how much of it is he's just so much better than everyone and how much of it is a bunch of gutless bums? I think it's a little bit of both. I think it is more that he's like way better than ever. I would give it like a 70-30. I could probably be talked into a 65-35 split.
I think
Um,
70-30 is correct.
yeah, but like 70-30, he's just way better than everyone, and 30% like everyone else is gutless bums.
You think about it when he has a 4-shot lead, makes a triple, 3 putts the last in the third round, and still has a 4-shot lead. That means no one put any fucking heat on the guy. So it's like
Right.
you are missing good players playing well.
Right.
That's what you're not getting. So
And what
when's
we
the
would
Ryder
need to
Cup?
do
Oh,
the
it's
Ryder Cup is
next
next
year at
year. It's at
Bethpage.
Bethpage. Yeah. Which would be really
Shit.
fucking cool to go to.
If you can fucking teleport me there, I'm in. I
Yeah.
do not want to travel to that place.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, you could take the
Also,
ferry.
I would much prefer to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but from ferry to golf course, that's another concern.
Right. Right. Um, yeah, because you'd have to ferry into Port Jeff probably and
Is
then go
that
from
is
there.
that more up the island, so east?
I believe so. Yeah.
So maybe coming back is a little bit easier than coming from New York from the city to
Yeah.
Bethpage. But they talk about like Shinnecock, how you just cannot fucking get there
Yeah.
because there's only one way in and it's just like chaos.
Yeah.
But Shinnecock's way up east. Or
Right.
not way up, way past
Yeah.
Bethpage.
Yeah. Um, so the only thing that would require us to do a little bit more homework, which I don't have in front of me and I'm truthfully not gonna do, right? Is to really figure out the gutless bum aspect is is it multiple guys that are that far off, right? So your point, right? You make a triple, you bogey, you come in, you do whatever on Saturday and no one is near you. Is that because, again, you're so much better than everyone and you had such a bigger lead? Or is it just because there's gutless bums, right? So, like, I would say if the whole field is like 7 shots behind, then that's kind of like gutless bums, right? But if there's like two guys that are within like 3, 4 shots, then it's kind of harder to say like a field full of gutless bums because at least some guys are close, right? And now, you could always play the game because it's golf. If they then fuck up the same way, then, Scottie fucking up gets nullified, right? So it's like a whole thing. But like, I would say if there's 2 or 3 guys within striking distance, then I would say less likely. You know what? I think it would be within each other. So you would have to look from like 2 to 10, right? If if 2 to 10 is all bunched up and they're all way far back, you could probably make the argument that Scottie's just that much better than everyone, right? Because the whole field is kind of shooting the same and Scottie's just blowing everyone out of the water, right? But if like 2 to 10 is spread apart, then it's probably the gutless bum thing. It depends on
Yeah, I
the gap,
wish.
right? It depends on the gaps between some of the guys.
I also I don't know how to use this website good enough. Um, yeah, so I mean, round three, he shot. I think he ended up shooting even with that. That being said, so I mean, field average was 73. He shot 72, and no one gained any ground on him. It's
Right.
like round four, scoring average was 74, 74.9, so close to 75.
75.
I mean, yeah, it was bunched. Um, but
Because
I also
that's
look,
like,
but I also look at it like, yeah. Now he also shot 74 in the final round, but you know, like scrolling, there weren't a lot of low scores out here. So it doesn't actually look like anybody should be faulted for not running them down.
right.
Because it's like Griot shot 3 under. He finished T27. Corey Connors was 1 under. Horschel was 1 under. Matsuyama 2 under.
Shout out to Billy Ho. He's
Fuck him.
he's like doesn't matter how shitty he's playing in his career when he gets to the Memorial, he just plays well. That's like for whatever reason, like he always plays well there.
Yeah, I don't know if the
He
course really let them. But I don't like Billy Ho. He's a fucking clown.
he's like Xander at East Lake.
It's a shame that they took that away from him. His
I
ability
know.
to win the tour championship and not win the FedEx
Yeah.
Cup.
Yeah.
He'd win every year.
He would.
He literally would have like fucking 5 wins there by now.
And then maybe people would actually like him more than they do.
No,
Probably not, because he's
probably
still a
not.
stick in the mud. But yeah. So yeah, so that's Scotty being on a historic run. I think in bigger news, while I look up how I did betting wise this weekend, because I think I actually had a good weekend. You want to talk about the US Open?
Yeah, I mean, so we're back to Pinehurst. For me specifically, Pinehurst will kind of always be remembered. I mean, obviously it's been 10 years and they haven't played there since. It will forever stick with me as the US Open that fucking Martin Keimer ruined for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's a dick. He won.
so
Didn't he win by like 8 strokes?
something like that. Actually, I have it pulled up.
He was
So
14 under. I remember that.
he won by 8. No, he was
Yeah.
9 under and he won by 8.
Oh, okay.
Um, so 2014, I was finishing up the summer of grad school. So I was still living in Bridgewater in the apartment by myself. So I was watching live from like every night. I was watching all the videos, all the features, everything on Pinehurst. And in 2014, it was the first time that they had like restored it back. They got rid of like the wall to wall Bermuda. They brought back in the sandy areas, so now it's like fairway native areas. Like that's all there is. And the fairways are fairly big, some of them.
Yeah.
Um, but like bringing it back to the sandhills of North Carolina, and they made this big deal about it. And it was the year after Marion, because Marion was the same deal. I was living in Bridgewater, grad school, and like they thought that the U.S. Open scoring averages would get killed by Marion, and then those Justin Rose won at 1 over. So then, fast forward, oh wow, Pinehurst is going to be so good. It's going to be this hard beast. You can't putt these greens. You can't hit an iron into them. If you miss by a centimeter, the ball fucking ends up back at your feet. Blah, 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 blah. Martin Keimer shoots fucking 65, 65 in the first 2 rounds. And I'm pretty sure he played late Thursday, early Friday. So it was by like fucking 1 p.m.
Yeah.
on Friday. He was 10 under par. Now, no
Yeah.
one was even close to him.
Right.
Maybe I could find the whatevers,
Like the round by round.
but I don't care.
Yeah.
And then he shoots 2 over the next couple days to finish at 8 under, never really once threatening it. Like no one fucking gave that a charge. He was never giving it away. Absolutely fucking ruined that US Open for me. I was so excited for it.
Yeah.
Like I was so prepared, so excited. Fucking Martin Keimer. Fucking kraut fuck.
Yeah.
Ruined it for me. Um, yeah, so I mean it's been 10 years. There was a USAM in 2019. Andy Ogletree won that one. Uh, they did play the women's US Open the week after the men's, and Michelle Wie won that one. That was the first time they did that. I think they're doing it again at Shinnecock whenever they go back. Um, both men and women same time. So yeah, I mean that's the deal with Pinehurst. It's a brute. And the greens, the cliches for the greens are upside down saucers, turtlebacks, um, trying to land it on the top of a Volkswagen Beetle, like that. Like that's what you're doing. It's long, it's hard. There's greens are elevated. I don't think there's much elevation in the actual course. I don't think. I don't really know. I mean, it is sandhills, but I
Yeah.
don't remember there being much like elevation change. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a bear. Like that's what this is, and like the U.S. Open or the USGA has re-headquartered to Pinehurst, so this is the flagship course now.
Right.
Um,
Right.
So when I pull up 2014's leaderboard, final leaderboard, so Keimer was 9 under. He won by 8 over Eric Compton, which was a great story until he like fucking beat the shit out of his wife, or whatever, last year or 2 years ago or something.
And then Rico.
Rico, which that year was the year he finished top 5 in all 4 majors and didn't sniff any of them. Keegan Bradley, Jason Day, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Henrik Stenson, Adam Scott, Brant Snedeker, Jimmy Walker. That is your top 10. Um, so if anything seeks out there, you got guys that drive it long and straight. You got guys that hit the absolute fuck out of their irons. And you start to trend towards dudes that keep it in play with Snedeker, Walker, and then the next two out are Furyk and Kuchar, Kevin Na. Um, so yeah, man. I mean, like this should be Scottie Scheffler's playground. Like
Right.
he hits it longer and straighter than anybody. Like
Yeah.
like that's it. That's it. That's all there is to it. So, um, do I think the 3-1 odds are correct? No, no one should be 3-1. Um, but seriously, like everyone asks, like, how do you bet against them? And I don't know how you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So I do have the betting odds up. So I just pulled DraftKings because even though I don't usually place my bets there, they just have everything out early enough.
Yeah, they're quick.
It's probably been out for a while now. So Scheffler 3-1, McIlroy 10-1, Schauffele 12-1, Hovland 16, Morikawa 16, DeChambeau 16, Kepka 20, Ludwig 20, Rom 22, and then we fall off a cliff. So when I mentioned gutless bums, here they are. Fleetwood, Thomas, Cam Smith 35, Cantlay 40, Tyrell 45, Homa 45, Lowry 50. Dude, I just don't know if anyone's coming from further than that. Spieth
Yeah.
at 55, Wyndham Clark, Bum at 60. I mean, Finau Burns, people will throw one on there. Connors, people will throw one on there. Zalatoris is 65 because he hasn't done shit lately. Um, I think though, what this should do is it should open up some top 20 opportunities. Uh, so top 20s on DraftKings, which I wouldn't bet because they have dead heat rules, which we've talked about.
They have a
So if you
section now where they include top 20 with ties.
not out yet.
Yeah, that
So if
usually
you
doesn't come out till like Monday or Tuesday.
yeah, I was gonna say probably usually like Tuesdays for
Yeah.
stuff like that. So if you were to look at top 20s like a football bet, we're talking Ludwig Kepka -110, -105 respectively, and then you're getting plus money on anybody else. Rom, Fleetwood, Thomas Smith, Cantlay, Homa, Hatton, Matsuyama, Kim, Tom. Oh, that was Tom Kim. Lowry, Fitzpatrick, Spieth, Finau. I don't know if you like Cam Young at this event, but Cam Young is plus 260.
He's probably
I
good for
don't.
a top 20, and that's about it.
Yeah, I mean at plus 260, I don't even know what his top 30 is. But this is the thing, though. He could easily not make the cut.
He could,
He's
yeah, I
plus.
was just gonna say he could miss the cut.
So I don't know. I don't know if there's a combination that's not named Scottie Scheffler that is a. I mean, obviously Rory McIlroy drives it long and straight, but like someone specifically who's like a top 30 iron player in like a top driver dispersion player, which you would have to find. I don't know if PGA Tour has those stats. I actually listened to the interview with No Laying Up and Brandel, which actually made Brandel look pretty good and made No Laying Up, or it was just Saul. He made Saul look like an idiot. He was unprepared for the conversation. And they went down some paths that again he just wasn't prepared, so he sounded like an idiot. I don't think he
Yeah.
is an idiot. I think he can formulate pretty good arguments. Um, but when he's not prepared, then all his arguments are just like emotion, want, and desires. They're not actual like arguments. And Brandel said something about like he goes, Rory McIlroy is the like longest, straightest driver we have. He goes, but if you look up driving accuracy, it won't give you that. He goes, because
Right.
driving accuracy is based on fairways. He goes, that's not, he goes, that is an antiquated stat. He goes, if you can look at yards offline or yards from the center line, which might be a shot link data. So that's why like us regular people can't get that.
So I have that list right here. Shout out to BetSperts Golf. The
Okay.
stat is distance from the edge of the fairway.
Yes, that's what he talked about.
Yeah, yeah. So you want to know where Scottie Scheffler ranks in distance from the edge of the fairway?
Number one.
Fifth.
Not
But
bad.
there's a bunch of bums in front of him. So like sometimes when you get events like this, you get some goofy shit. So like, yeah, Scottie Scheffler is theoretically number one because the four guys in front of him have only 4 rounds, 2 rounds, 2 rounds, and 4 rounds of data,
You
right? So
filter that
it's
out to like a minimum of
um
like 16.
yes, I can actually. Let me minimum
And actually, it's
rounds
US Open week. I'd filter that out to a minimum of
24.
32, 8 events. I mean, Scheffler just won 5 of his last 8. If you don't have stats in the last 8, like, what the fuck do I need you for?
So I can filter by 30.
Good enough.
Scottie Scheffler is number one.
Yep, there you have it.
Colin Morikawa is number two.
Okay. That's
So
interesting. He's an interesting one, man. I mean, a little
So
bit
his
gutless,
thing,
but
so here it is. So we just talked distance from the edge of the fairway and now driving distance, right? So I actually, you know what? Let's do this like a fucking meeting. If you're on YouTube right now, I'm going to share my screen. So this is
just
now a
make sure you
YouTube
close
show.
those Pornhub tabs.
Yeah. Yeah. Um so here you go. Here. Let me What are we doing? Can you see this?
Oh, fuck yeah, I can see it. What are you doing?
I don't know. What are you doing?
I don't know.
So distance from the edge of this is sorted by distance from the edge of the fairway. Now, the one thing that's interesting, if you look at driving distance, none of these
Yeah.
guys, they're all at the bottom in
Yeah,
driving distance.
because usually now
Shorter,
this
straighter.
well shorter, straighter, but well, okay. In terms
Or
of
shorter
this,
is less offline.
and that's because when you hit it further, you're just further down,
Correct. Correct.
not more like not a percent more crooked, right? Like that's
Yeah.
because that's where
Yeah.
people fuck this all up.
So if you're an audio only guy, there's one name on this list that is green in distance from the edge of the fairway and driving distance. And it happens to be Scottie Scheffler, who is number one from distance from the edge of the fairway and number 13 in driving distance. The next closest guy would be Matt
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick, who is 10th in distance from the edge of the fairway and 38th in driving distance.
I mean, dude,
It's a light green.
not for nothing. I don't hate. How is he? Oh,
And this is filtered by 30 the last 30
yeah,
rounds.
yeah, yeah.
So Sung
Uh,
J Im is another guy. I would
I was
say
gonna say
top
I just
20
saw an 18.
guys.
Oh, Roars. That's why.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I saw an 18 and a 4.
That's yeah. So Rory is
Corey Connors,
yeah.
1928. That's not bad for a guy who hits the fuck out of his irons.
Yeah. So that's another thing we can change to here is we can do you could do just strokes gain approach, right? So obviously Scottie Scheffler number one, Corey Connors number three, so Siwoo Kim, he was on that list. Who was the other guy we were talking about?
Oh, it's Fitzpatrick. You'll be scrolling a while.
Yeah. Rory, 21st in strokes gain approach.
Yeah, you can't. So that's the thing though with Rory. There's not a whole lot you can do with him right now.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick 53rd.
I mean, 53rd's still
That's
good. I mean, if we're talking like top 20, we're not talking to win. But if we're talking like top 20,
yeah.
I mean,
Well, it's 53
50.
out of the field of 85.
Oh,
It's not on tour,
uh,
it's out of this field.
oh, it's out of the sample. Okay.
Yeah. Because the sample size is the US Open field. I could make this all golfers
No, you don't
and
have
you
to.
would get that, but like this is just of the field.
Uh, Lucas Glover, sneaky.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was up there at the
yeah,
other
he
stat
was.
we looked at too.
He doesn't have distance.
Right.
Sorry, he's ranked low in distance. That doesn't mean he doesn't have it. So like,
Right.
I think that's the other hard part about like that could also be a little bit why like
Yeah, he's 80th in driving
80th
distance out
out of
of 85.
83,
Yeah.
85. Okay. Hold that thought. Um, that could also be like the hard part about gambling on golf right now is there are so like something like that. Like you just pulled that model in 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Like that used to take a lot of work. But like everybody can pull that shit within seconds. And then I think like good players are getting forgotten about because like so just like off the cuff, we would look at that and we would go, "Oh, Lucas Glover, short hitter." That because that's what it says.
Right.
And then if I go to his PGA Tour site off the tee, he's 85th. That's not that good, right?
Right.
Well, he's gaining on the feet. He's gaining on the tour.
Right.
Now, his driving distance, he's 165th, but he's hitting at 287. If you combine that,
287 isn't really that short. I
it's
mean,
not
it's
that
again, it's
short.
it's
It's
short for
short,
guys on tour.
but if we use that for a guy that's 12th in strokes gained approach and 6th in proximity, and then if I really look at where he ranks, uh, where's the one I like? There's a scoring. I don't really want proximity. I like the scoring one. Uh, fuck. Well, from
So
175 to 200 in proximity, because that's usually like the key number, right? He's
yep,
43rd. That's
yeah.
pretty fucking good. Again, if we're looking at top 20, that's pretty fucking good.
So you can do fairway approach accuracy from 175 to 200,
Yeah,
and yeah,
so Pete, they used to have an RTP score, which was like
relative to par.
relative to par that I used to really like.
So we're still at
Because
30 rounds.
it was kind of like looking at score. Yeah, either way. So I mean, from
Lucas
175
Glover's
to 200, he's good.
32nd.
Yeah, I mean,
So
he's
with his
good.
long irons, right? So if you go
And then fairway 200 plus, that's US Open numbers. He's 24th. Like,
right,
um, and I think that's like kind of what's missing a little bit is like not looking further into like, okay, will he have more 200-yard shots than other people? Yes, he
yeah,
will. But
but he's good at those shots.
like who here is like JT's 50th and Brian Harmon's 57th out of this
Right.
sample, right?
Like Brian Harmon will have a lot of 200 plus shots because he is a shorter hitter
So
and
Brian Harmon,
he's not good at them.
Brian Harmon is not only a shorter hitter, he's also weak from 200 plus.
Right.
So you
So
would
he's a guy
think.
to stay away from.
But like if you just looked at your other screen, you probably would have filtered, or most people would probably filter out Lucas Glover
Right.
because him and Brian Harmon are both low on driving distance.
Right.
But then you
You
look
have to take it
further and
that
it's
one
like
step further.
I think that's probably a lot of what's missing. Cool.
So again, no free ads here, but I do love these guys from BetSperts Golf. But one
Who's
of the things
three?
you can
Oh, Kitayama. He fucking
yeah,
pounds the ball,
yeah.
but I'm not betting on him. He's not good
So
enough.
one of the things you can do is when you build a model, you can take, all right, so this is everything that is um that's filtered right now, right? It's by 30 rounds, the US Open field, and then let's look at, guys that hit 175 to 200
200 plus.
and then 200 plus, right? So we'll do
Yeah.
that. Then
Go
you
back to
go
the
to off the tee, distance from the edge of the fairway, add that, driving distance, add that. You can add more, right? But just for
yep.
these purposes, create a model. These were in here from the last time I made a model. So I'll delete all of these.
Also, I don't know if it matters one bit, but Akshay Bhatia is from like similar area to Pinehurst. I believe he's played there quite a bit.
Okay. So like, again, there could be more things that you look
Yeah.
at, but
And
these are the four we talked about.
we're not going
So
to
you
weight
hit
these because we don't know what the weight is.
right. So you just hit Pinehurst, save and generate, and then it'll spit this guy out for you. And what do
It's
you
so
know?
weird.
Scottie
Scottie
Scheffler,
Scheffler's
number
number
one,
one.
Rory, the Scottie, Rory, Xander, right?
Yeah, but Xander, 58th from 175 to 200. I'm like, I don't like that one bit.
Right, right. Especially someone with his length, he's going to have more 175 to 200s than he will for 200 plus.
You know what's funny though? What just showed up too, like right below him, Matt Fitzpatrick. So we just pulled up his approach numbers. They're not good.
Well, because we
But
don't have, oh, so that's what we fucked up. I fucked up.
what strokes gain
Um,
approach?
I didn't put in strokes gain approach.
But I don't know if I care because no, go back, go back to that. What do you no, save and generate. Get to it.
I already did.
I don't know how to use this website. I'm telling you how to do it. So this is the thing though. So like, and again, I don't need to pull it up, but like, let's say Matt Fitzpatrick's horrible from 100 to 125, like compared to tour players, right?
Right.
Like he hits it to fucking 18 feet, and that's not good enough. but he's 11th from 175 to 200, and he's 11th from 200 plus. That's probably why he fucking shows up in U.S. Opens, in majors. Doesn't, well, he
Right.
won at the country club, but that's probably why this guy shows up because he's got the long game.
Right. And this thing too, to caveat, it's just from the fairway. There
Yep.
is a, oh, sorry. There's a from the rough approach too. So you could look at, you know, from the
There's
rough.
no rough though. There's no
Yeah,
rough at Pinehurst.
that's true. So you don't need that stat.
Yeah, I mean you're in the fucking sand and shit,
Yeah.
but that would be distance from the edge of the fairway. Matt Fitzpatrick, he's 10th.
There's your boy Akshay, 13.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's a little wild off the tee, but
So I feel like Lucas Glover is going to be down here a bit. Yeah, because he is almost dead
because his
last in
distance is
driving
low.
distance.
But
And
his
that's where the weight things come in, right? Like if you weight accuracy more than distance, like he's going to bump up a little bit. I mean, he's 28th. He may only move up to like 23, 22, but he's probably a solid choice for a top 20.
did I? Well, what did I just do? Oh, that's just
Justin Rose, another guy who doesn't really pound the ball, but is accurate and is very good with his long irons and typically plays well in majors.
generally speaking.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to go out there and like contend for the win, but like when I say plays well, like he's pretty consistent, like a top 30. Like you can pencil him in for a top 30 at a major.
U.S. Open. Fuck is this guy?
Homa surprisingly low on the list because Homa is going to be a guy that I feel like a lot of people are going to go towards. But his thing is he's
Well, he plays
good
on tough
at every,
courses, right?
right. Yeah, that's his thing. So
Lucas
like
Glover, 5-1, top 20.
Homa is good at everything, but he's great at nothing. Right. And then again, we're just looking at four stats here. Like if I were to build a model, I'd probably add in some um, you would add in putting, right? And the other that's wild, dude. Like they call this the rabbit hole. Um, because you can filter by conditions. Like field strength. How do guys play when it's very strong? The course is very long. Scoring conditions, difficult,
Very
very difficult.
difficult.
Like you can do all of this.
Probably 70.
You can filter to majors, right? You can go green speed, green firmness. Like what's the surface of the green? Who's the architect? I'd never go this deep into it, but like you can filter by all of this stuff. Like sometimes I'll go like when it's a course is less than driver, right? Like you filter by that. How do guys do when it's less than driver? So it filters all of the stats that will populate, will, go to whatever you just chose here. Um, in the wind, right? Like this is one that I use relatively frequently. Like if it's going to be windy, like I'll put a wind filter on all of the stats, right? Because that's going to change for some guys.
I'll tell you,
When the putting is very difficult, right? Like how do these guys do?
I'll tell you right now, Akshay and Lucas Glover are both very far down the odds list.
Yeah,
Like they're plus money at top 40.
yeah. And then just for shits, right? If you go, if I filter by very difficult putting, right? And then so the time frame is only the last. Yeah. So very difficult putting conditions, who is really good at avoiding three putts? Right. So these are the guys that don't three putt when it's really hard to putt. Who's number two on the list? Max Homa.
Oh,
Right. So like you could add this in there too, because you could make the argument again, Pinehurst, the turtle shells, the fucking Volkswagen, whatever. Um, where is Akshay on this list?
I don't know if he's gonna qualify.
Yeah.
He
Because
probably doesn't have enough.
he hasn't played 30 rounds.
No, I don't think he's had enough majors or really hard putting days.
So I mean, you can drop that down, right, to 16.
Puke.
Yeah. Akshay 34th, so like dead middle of the field through 16 rounds.
Yep.
So, you know, not great, but doesn't suck either.
Nope.
So, yeah. I mean, that's the shit like when I have time, which isn't that much, but when I have time during the week on like a Monday or a Tuesday, I mess around with that thing and hit a bunch of filters. And sometimes I'll build like two models, right? Like I'll build one that focuses on one thing, one that focuses on another, and then kind of compare them. See if anyone like weight them differently is what I mean. Like I won't use completely different stats because that's just kind of pointless to then compare them. But like I'll weight them a little differently, and just kind of see like who pops where. And another thing, like when I was really lost and like not able to win a bet ever, so like the last like 6 weeks, some weeks I would just look because the guys that own the company that run the website, they post their models, they make them public. So I'll pull up like three or four of their models and look across like the three or four of them, like who's in the top 20 consistently between the four of them, right? Because they all have different stats and they all weight them differently. So if there's one guy that's kind of like, he might be second on one list and 17th on another and 10th on another, and then, you know, ninth on another, it's like, all right, maybe I'll take him for a top 20. But it's a cool website. Said shout out to BetSports Golf. Not a sponsor of the show, but you know, they're good guys. Um, all right. I think it's probably time to wrap up game one so we
Yeah.
can get ready for game two. That was your US Open preview show. what's uh what's your final thought?
2 hours, unlimited Guinness. How much you drinking?
Is it a competition?
Nope. You're paying $34. You get brunch with unlimited Guinness, but you get 2 hours of unlimited Guinness. Now let's just say that you're taking that and you're gonna go, okay, I'm not gonna force the issue,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna take the brakes off either for anybody. So like we're kind of like you're drinking,
Yeah, I'm drinking with a
but
purpose, right? I'm not
like
just like casually like
you're
hanging
drinking with
on.
a purpose, but you're not gonna sit there and like
But it's
fill
not
up
a
so
competition. It's not like
right.
how many physically can I drink in 2 hours?
Yeah, you don't want to walk out of there and then your stomach's so fucking bloated and you would just puke out all liquid in 4 seconds
Yeah,
because
black liquid
because of
too, because
volume
it's
and not because
Guinness. Yeah.
well that's why I thought it was interesting.
Hey,
That's why
just
I
hit
thought
that
it was
microphone.
I pulled the wire. That's why I thought it was interesting because I like Guinness. I don't think I've ever really drank Guinness for fucking sport. Um, but yeah, they're like way heavier than anything else you're drinking.
Yeah, I would say in 2 hours, with a purpose, but not for competition. So not sport, right? I'm not drinking for sport. Probably four.
See, I was thinking definitely 4 in the first hour because again, there's a purpose here, right? So the first two are down in the first, I don't know, 20 minutes. And then that
Okay.
gives me 40
Yeah.
minutes to drink the next two. And
Yeah,
then by
maybe I'm
that,
being a little too casual with
I
it
was
then.
saying then that time I'm a little fucked up. I was thinking like 6 or 7, full knowing that like that and that's without me even noticing, I think.
Yeah.
Again, if I wanted to force the issue, it could definitely be 8 plus. But again, that's a lot of Guinness.
So I actually enjoy Guinness. Like I like Guinness a lot. Like if I have to drink a beer, like if we're at a bar and we're only drinking beer, like I will get a Guinness.
I know.
Um,
You just gotta have to the only deterrent with Guinness is you have to evaluate are they gonna pour that correctly?
yeah, yeah. Because
Which
I don't know what it is. We've talked about it on the show before. Like beer. sits with me weird. Like it makes me feel fucked up. Like it's not a gluten sensitivity, but it's definitely a histamine thing, right? As we covered that in the past. But um, I can drink 2 beers and feel like absolute dog shit and have 6 bourbons and feel relatively okay. But for whatever reason, Guinness doesn't do that to me. So I don't know if it's like the different kind of wheat or
Yeah.
hops or whatever, or the nitrogen instead of the carbonation, or I don't know what the fuck it is. But Guinness doesn't have the same effect on me that like shitty wise, I mean, that like a Bud Light would, or like a classic, like any domestic IPA, any regular old beer, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, I felt like, yeah, the 20 minutes of beer is probably fairly accurate for the first hour, and then probably a half hour after that. So yeah, you're probably looking at 4 to 6 in two
I was
hours.
thinking.
Yeah. Is that a real life scenario?
Yeah, I screenshotted it from I don't know something. Already deleted it. It was like one of those things where I was like, how many are you doing? And it's like, well, again, it's like if you want me to force the issue, it can be a lot.
Yeah.
But then it's like, again, I'm probably gonna be full of fucking dark beer and puking.
Right. Right. Uh, all right. So my final thought has to do kind of, we'll go back to golf for this one, make it a full circle here. Um, has to do with Joe and Lee's in Easton. I went there today, and unfortunate to say, I'm kind of disappointed. It was the first time I think I've ever gone in there and kind of left being like, it's not really anything there. Granted, right? I do want to caveat it's June, right? The time to go into Joe and Lee's to get deals is like March, April, and then like September, October, right? Like beginning of season, end of season is when you're going to get the best deals. You can get some steals on some used clubs because it's again, that's like end of season, people turning their stuff in. Same thing, they want to buy new in the new season, so they turn in their old shit, like so that yeah, I get. But like I went in there specifically looking for a new pair of shoes. Um I have a gift card to Joe and Lee's from Mary, shout out to Mary, friend of the show, from Christmas. And I was like, yeah, so I'll just take a ride over, I'll pop over and see what they got. I'll buy a new pair of shoes, whatever. Um 70% of the shoes that they had there were spikeless. Like, I don't know if that's like the new trend in golf.
That's probably the industry
Yeah.
because it's
I don't like them at all. I hate spikeless shoes. I do not feel it doesn't it feels like I'm swinging a golf club on ice.
well, and that's the thing is we live in the Northeast. Like
Yeah.
it's wet, the grass is long,
Right.
leaves fall. Like
Right.
I've never been a spikeless guy. Like I've had them before, but I don't like them
I
because
had them to start out. So I
I
played the first probably 3 years with spikeless, and then 3 years ago, because I think I've been playing for 6 years now. 3 years ago, I bought my first pair of spiked shoes, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is a completely different game."
yeah, I like the spikes. Yeah, most shoes are spikeless now. I think I don't know why that is
Yeah,
because it shouldn't change how they look.
yeah,
Um Other parts of the country, yeah, you don't need the spikes.
right.
I don't know. So I don't, I'm not 100% on that one, but yeah, that's definitely industry wide. And something I've noticed with Joe and Lee's in almost every other store too, they're just like not holding a big inventory of shit that doesn't sell. So they're really only getting the new shit in. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
retail on like FootJoys and Adidas, it's like 149, 199.
yeah. Yeah.
Like right now, I'm not really in that. I already know it. Next year, I'm going to be buying fucking because of my fucking shoe debacle from this year.
So
I'll be
that's
spending I'll be
yeah.
spending the money next year, like as little as I want to. Like I'll do it. I'm gonna have to because
Yeah.
I play too much golf to have shitty shoes. But like I even thought like because back I used to spend like $50. And it's like, okay, well, $50 is now like $80. And it's like $80 isn't cutting it. So it's like I'm gonna have to spend 150. Yes, I get a discount on FootJoy. So if I order over the winter, I'll let you know. But
Yeah.
um I'm gonna have to because this is getting stupid.
So the other thing I was going to get to, right, is I found a pair of Adidas that I really liked. They were spiked, they were just white. Because that's the other thing, too. I'm noticing now with golf shoes, they're all fucking crazy colors. Like, they're like neon blue and like high vis yellow and like white with like camo shit in it. Like, just give me a plain white and gray shoe. That's it. That's all I just want white and gray, white and silver. Like, keep it muted, neutral, whatever. I don't want crazy shit. I don't need bright orange and like metallic silver. I don't need any of that. Like just plain white. Just give me a white shoe. But I found one that I liked. That was a pair of Adidas, and they were a size 9. And I was like, okay, they fit, right? Like they fit. Like I could wear them, and I feel like I would be fine. And I was like, I kind of wish they had a pair of 8.5s just so I could try them, right? Because I would need to know, like, is the 8.5 too tight? Because there was a different pair of New Balances that I found that I kind of liked, and I did the same thing. I put on a size 9, and I was like, okay, yeah, like that, I could wear those, but they had a size 8.5, and I put the 8.5 on, and I was like, yeah, no, that's way too tight. That's too tight. Like it's too snug on the toe. Don't like it. I'm definitely a 9. But with this Adidas, I think they were like $199. And I was like, I'm not gonna buy, and I had the gift card to offset. So it's not like I'm spending $200 on it, but I'm not gonna spend effectively, right, $200 on shoes that maybe a size 8.5 would fit me better, right? Like I don't know. They didn't have one there. So I was like, you know what? I'll just come back another time. It's fine. Like I now know the shoe that I like, right? I'll go back in like a month. Like my shoes now, like the backs are falling apart, which is kind of a fucking pain in the ass because I have to wear band-aids on my heels when I play so I don't get fucking blisters. Um, but
Here's what you should do. Get on Amazon tonight, find something so that you're not wearing those. Because
yo, yeah,
that's
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
that's crazy. Find something like an old model of something
Yeah,
and just get them.
yeah.
And then take your time, use your gift card, whatever, because you can't be doing this shit.
Right. So I go, all right, I'm not gonna pull the trigger on these yet. So I go, let me go take a look at all the clubs they got. Again, as previously mentioned, June is not the time to find deals on clubs because I was like, oh, maybe I'll get a 7 wood, right? They had a couple 7 woods,
They did new
but they were no,
demos.
used
Really?
in demos. But they were all regular flex shafts, and I found three Titleist ones, and two of them had seen better days. And again, all three of them had a regular flex shaft. So I was like, I'm not doing that. So I go, maybe I'll look at the bags, right? Because I've had the same golf bag now for probably 3 or 4 years. And I was like, maybe I'll get a new bag. So I go to the bag section. I look at all the bags. 90% of all the bags are 14-way divider. And I
No.
fucking hate
Nope.
14
Nope.
way dividers.
Nope. 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 Nope.
I can't stand a 14-way divider. Just give
Nope.
me the 5. Give me the
It
5-way.
is
I'll chunk because like my brain too, right? Like I put my 5, 6, 7 in one slot. My high clubs go on the top with the putter. Like all my wedges go on the bottom. The 8, 9, and 48 or whatever pitch and wedge goes in one. Like I know where my clubs are. Like I can close my eyes and pull the clubs out of my bag. I do not need a 14-way divider. Don't want it. Don't like it. It's not for me. I don't want nothing to do with it.
14-way
And
divider is for the pores.
Yeah. So then the only five-way dividers they had there, I didn't really like the bags, right? It was like a goofy color. It was like a green, like the shirt that I'm wearing, and like trimmed with like neon orange. And it's like,
Yeah,
I just
no.
give me black and red, white and blue. Like, give me normal fucking colors here. Like straight black, right? Like I don't need the red trim on it, right? Because some of them had black and red trim. Like Titleist has a really nice black and red bag, but they had a 14-way divider. And I was like, I'm not doing that. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I walk around, I look at the clearance rack and I go, there's nothing here either. And then I look at like, there's like a rain, like pullover, right? Like a quarter zip rain jacket pullover, but it's a short sleeve one. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. I could do that. And then I go, what the fuck am I doing? I don't need this. I'm like, I don't need this. I have a rain jacket. Like, yeah, it's a zip up and it has a hood on it, but who gives a shit? It keeps me dry when it rains. I go, I don't need this. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave. So I left Joe and Lee's after, swinging and missing like four times and being like, wow, I think that was the first time I've ever gone in and out of there being like, I'm kind of not really like impressed with what they had. However, I don't know if you've been to see Classic Gary lately or not, but the performance center looks like it's basically done. At least from the outside, it's built.
Yeah,
Um,
so
it's
I've seen the structure. I haven't been inside. I think I'm supposed to see him Wednesday. I
okay.
think I might be in there Wednesday. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Looks pretty good. I mean, again, I didn't go inside, but it's pretty big from the outside. Um, so yeah, like I said, I have the gift card, so I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna spend the money there on something, but I'm I'm probably gonna end up buying the size 9 anyway, regardless, right? Just even if they don't have the 8.5s when I go back. Because I do like the shoe. And then afterwards, I looked up on My Golf Spy, and that was rated the top shoe of 2024. So then I'm kicking myself like, fuck, I should have just bought the size 9 anyway. But again, it's one of those like, what if an 8.5 fits better, right? Like, because the 9, it was like a little roomy, but like if I tie the shoes tight, like it was fine, right? But again, if it doesn't fit good and you're walking a lot, because I walk most of the time when I play, it's like that's how you get blisters and shit. So it's like I just wanted to feel the 8.5 and the fit in the 8.5. And maybe I wouldn't have liked it. Maybe it was all for naught and I would have ended up with a 9 anyway. But still, like it was literally the only size they had that was under an 11. Like it was that one size 9 and that particular Adidas shoe. And then everything else was like 11, 11 and a half, 13 and a half, 12 and a half. And I'm like, are people really? Is that like the average size now? Like, I know I'm not the tallest guy in the world, but like there's one size under an 11 and it's the 9. I mean, there may have been a 10 and a half, right? But I like there was only two, right? Maybe it was the 9 and then the 10 and a half. So I don't know. It's a tough shout out to Joe and Lee's, I guess, but that's gonna do it for game one. So thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to click subscribe up above, hit the thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you're an audio only guy as well. Get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is Sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. The website is sarcasmspeaks.com. Check out the show notes below. The links and promo codes and discounts and everything are all down there. Go support some cool companies and save some money. So until next time, good night, everybody.